Religious freedom does not mean freedom from religion.
An atheist couple wants to remove the phrase under God, claiming the words violate students' rights.
And that if these people really don't like it, they don't have to live here.
Yeah, that's a good point. But does anybody know whether this under God was added to the pledge, or was it part of it? It was?
It was added. It doesn't matter, though.
Yeah, that bit that doesn't matter is that the words under God were introduced to the Pledge of Allegiance in 1954. That is, the Americans who fought in World War II grew up in an America where "In God We Trust" was not on the notes, and the words under God were not in the pledge. And you know what? They turned out okay.
The only way you can have faith is if there is no faith to compare it to. So I understand that they are the minority here and they have to deal with these issues.
But why should they be catered to?
We're not
Why
saying,
are they so special?
What about that?
I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm telling you that I find it offensive that a few people, and these children are pawns from their parents' political statements and beliefs, to try and enforce it on everybody else and inflict their belief system. It's incredibly selfish, it's small-minded, and I don't think the court should cater to them. There is no good reason to do so.
Yeah, and you know who else is a minority? Blacks. Why should they be catered to when the majority think they should ride at the back of the bus? I mean, let's just take this Fox News contributor to another theme.
I understand that they are the minority here and they have to deal with these issues.
But why should they be catered to?
We're not
Why
saying,
are they so special?
What about that?
I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm telling you that I find it offensive that a few people, and these children are pawns from their parents' political statements and beliefs, to try and enforce it on everybody else and inflict their belief system. It's incredibly selfish, it's small-minded, and I don't think the court should cater to them.
Developing tonight at 11, prayer in schools. It's a topic that's been debated over the years. Today, the Florida Senate passed a bill that would allow students to lead prayers in school and at school events. It now moves to the House. NBC2's Danielle Kaleniak found out what some students and parents think about the idea.
Students are one step closer to being allowed to pray in school.
I think it's a step forward, most definitely.
The Florida Senate approved a new school prayer bill that will allow school boards to adopt policies granting students the right to have prayer at any school assembly. That includes basketball games. Mariner High School student Megan Hero supports the bill.
If they want to pray, then they should be able to, and the faculty shouldn't be able to stop it and shouldn't encourage them to do it. It should be their own personal choice.
But the bill also has some pretty tight restrictions. The school districts cannot dictate or review what the student says before the prayer. It bans school administrators, teachers, and coaches from giving the inspirational message, something that doesn't make sense to high school senior Kayla Baker.
The students are doing it, the teachers should be able to do it too.
And parent Kim Hobson agrees.
If they're allowed to give their opinions on different social opinions, I think that they should be allowed to give their faith opinion as well.
But says she'll take whatever her kids can get. In Cape Coral, Danielle Kaleniak, NBC2.
So how would you feel if your children came home from their public school and said their Muslim classmates were praying in school? And not only are school officials allowing it, they are setting aside a special period for it. Well, that's exactly what some people say is going on in San Diego, and it has set off a fiery debate over religion in the classroom. While some of the students at Carver Elementary School play outside in the San Diego sun, the Muslim children stay inside and pray. And that period of prayer is now a hot topic in the local paper and on conservative radio stations.
I understand that they're Arabic and it is okay to teach them Arabic, but it is not okay to initiate, engage, be biased, persuade these children into prayer.
In April, a substitute teacher at the Carver School called a local radio show to say she was directed to set aside an hour so a teacher's aide could lead Muslim children in prayer.
At 1 o'clock, according to, as per Mr. direction, Ms. comes in, district employee, students, these 7th and 8th grade kids, without direction, close the blinds without direction. That was the real flag, if I will, that went up. Without direction, closed the blinds. At that point, I became extremely uncomfortable felt intimidated, and I left.
The San Diego Unified School District investigated the incident. It says it found no evidence that students were instructed to pray by a district employee or that the prayer happened during instructional time. The district maintains that all 400 Carver students are allowed a 15-minute recess each afternoon. During that time, some of the 100 Muslim students do pray on their own, but they pray without guidance from the school. Edgar Hopide is a Muslim and spokesman for San Diego's Council on American Islamic Relations.
I think that substitute teacher, along with others, should go and look into more about Islamic practices and see that we're not a threat to the society. We're American just like apple pie, and we want to be part of the society.
But Muslim students have to pray at specific times each day.
Arnold Schwarzenegger and
critics like radio host Roger Hedgecock claim they get special treatment.
No classrooms are being set aside for Christian prayer. No classrooms are being set aside for practices of the Christian religion. We shouldn't do it in the public schools, and we sure shouldn't do it for the Muslims.
The irony is that religious conservatives and others have complained for years about a lack of organized prayer in schools. But now that non-instructional time has been set aside in schools like Carver Elementary, they complain that it is the Muslim students who use it for prayer.
Thank you, Bob and George, for showing up to this top-secret meeting so promptly.
Well, your text message did say super serial, so...
Gentlemen, what is the most important issue facing America right now?
The economy?
Healthcare,
debt,
infrastructure,
the environment,
foreign relations,
taxes,
technology,
education,
alternative fuels,
crime,
Christmas. The Rick Perry legacy will ensure that people will be free to say Merry Christmas without having to endure Chinese water torture.
But people can already say Merry Christmas.
Yes, we can. It appears Bob here has been compromised by the propaganda of the fascist liberal agenda. Take him away for some American water torture. Find out what he knows. Be sure to double check for faggotry. Sir! Yes, sir! It's time to make some new laws, George. Because as conservatives, we're all about smaller, less intrusive government. And nothing says smaller or less intrusive like more laws. Am I right?
Yes, sir. If you say so, sir.
George, are you familiar with the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment?
Yes, sir. It says, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion.
I think the Founding Fathers' usage of the word no is a little hazy, don't you?
Sir?
Freedom of religion, not freedom from religion. Simple, right? It means everyone should have the freedom to have religion imposed upon them.
George, I totally agree.
Good. Now remember that the First Amendment also guarantees the free exercise of religion. The key is to milk the free exercise clause to promote Christianity in public schools.
How do we do that?
Don't you read your Bible? Obviously, it's downright impossible to properly practice Christianity without the display of ancient torture devices, cheap plastic nativity scenes, and prayer led by employees of the state.
Where does it say that in the Bible?
Leviticus chapter 7, verse 11. Huh? Look, the main issue is the public schools, where we can use an air of authority to promote Christianity to children.
Why children?
If you're an adult the first time you hear about a 2,000-year-old invincible flying hippie Jew who was conceived sans hanky-panky, for some reason, you're less likely to believe it. Huh, I know. Now that's something R&D should be working on rather than that silly alternative fuels crap.
But how do we get away with showing favoritism to Christianity?
We'll throw the Jews and the terrorists a bone every now and then, but everybody knows America's a Christian nation. Enough time goes by and whatever we do will be historical and traditional, and then the commies won't even be able to touch us.
Okay, so what's the plan then?
Well, the facilities, including the employees who lead prayer, the grounds and walls upon which Christian symbols and promotions are displayed, and the auditoriums where speeches promoting Christianity will be given, will all be funded, bought and paid for by the surrounding communities. Even the godless atheists must pay by law.
And if atheists don't want to pay for Christian promotions?
Simple. We'll kick them out of their houses and put their homes up for auction. Now that sounds like freedom, don't it? God bless America. Oh, I get it. Real estate taxes pays for the schools, which are now used in a concerted effort to promote Christianity under the guise of religious facilitation, thereby circumventing the First Amendment, so even the atheist is forced to fund an establishment of religion by law. And thus the oppression of Christians will finally end. At long last, we will no longer be forced to not be able to force our religion upon others. Gotta love that freedom! Yes, sir. I don't know how America or Christianity has endured without you. Amazing, isn't it? But keep in mind that the first Christians only had to put up with things like being fed to lions. They ain't never had to deal with the trials and tribulations, nay, the oppressive horrors of not being able to force other people to pay for their religious activities. Duly noted, sir. One question, though. Oh? Ironically, I've noticed that the churches don't pay a dime in income taxes or real estate taxes, so asking the taxpayer to shoulder the burden in promoting their religion might come off to some as especially unfair. Whoops, my bad. It's okay, sir. Now, by the time I sign this freedom to force religion bill into law, I want you to be just about done drawing up that gay bill. Gay bill? Sir? Yep. As a Christian nation, one of the government's top priorities should obviously be to keep the pee-pees from touching the pee-pees and the ho-hos from touching the ho-hos. Get on it!